Hey guys, it's Carol from Cape Cod Cottage Garden. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today is December 2nd, and today I'm going to go through my my herbaceous perennials and cut everything back for winter. It's December 2nd. I'm a little late on this, but we only just recently had a hard frost. As you can see by my lace cap hydrangea behind me, all the leaves have drooped and died. But let's go ahead and do that. I'll show you what I prune back in the fall, and how I do it and the reasons why I do it. So let's go ahead and do that now. Starting in front here, I'll probably cut back my alliums a little bit, the stalks at least. I'll trim back some of my Roseanne geraniums. I'm leaving my foxglove because I want that to spread. So I'm leaving it there, hoping it spreads all over the place because I really like that plant. Obviously not touching the roses now, not touching the hydrangea. I will take the lilies back to the ground, not touching the, what is that plant? Smoke bush. I will take all my daylilies back and my coneflowers. Normally I don't do the coneflowers. I will leave them so the birds can eat all the seed heads, but these got ravished by bunnies and they are first year plants. So I'm gonna cut it back and hopefully that gives the roots more energy to really set those roots in for next year. I'll leave the sedum, I'll leave the insomnia, I'll leave the roses like I said before. And over here, oh, look at I was gonna say I'll do my irises, but looks like something did the job for me. I have a terrible problem with bunnies and stuff here. And also I would have done my yarrow, but they did the job for me. We're talking about fencing in this whole property this year if we can. Also my agastache I will take down. Most of the leaf litter I will leave because I want the bugs, like for the most part, there's good bugs that will overwinter in those leaves. As you can see, we drained out my bird bath. And over here, I'll take these hostas and get rid of all of the hostas. There's some over there because all the hostas do when those leaves break down is all the slugs will lay their eggs in there, and I want to eliminate slugs in my garden, so those I'm going to take right down. And that's it for this back border. I'll go ahead and do that now and then I'll show you, although there's really not that much to do now that I'm looking at it. Yet another thing that could go on the blooper reel. My pot. Mr. Hubby went around and emptied all my pots, but he left one. He forgot one. So I'm trying to empty it, and the roots, I think I showed you earlier, like grew through the bottom of the pot into the ground. That was my brother-in-law interfering with my shot. So I'm just gonna keep going. But anyway, so the roots grew right through my pot, and I cannot get it out. I cannot get the soil out of this pot. I've been trying for a good while now. Oh, wait a minute. I got it. There we go. So you can see how time could get away from you in the garden when you have issues like this. I actually don't really have to empty this pot all the way out. Can't see my head. Because it's not cement. It won't crack. It's one of those plasticky ones, but I do anyways because I want to start fresh next year. And the reason why I do a lot of this in the fall is because my spring is really busy, and the more I can get done now to make my life easier in the spring, I try to do. So that's where I'm at. So let's get back in. I'm gonna get back into trapping down some of these perennials. Let's keep going. That was awkward. guys, I've moved on to my patio area. I have my Buddha bed and my shade garden. My Buddha bed is made up of all annuals, so I'm just gonna cut these like to the ground. I'm gonna leave the roots in place and let them decompose over the winter, and they'll just add to the nutrients of the soil. I'm gonna leave the grass up even though it is an annual, just because I like the way it looks. We've already taken the motor out of and all the water out of my fountain, so that's all set for the winter. And then over on the shade side, I'm gonna take out all of the hostas because I don't want the slugs to, nest and lay their eggs in there. My elephant ears, as you can see, the purple ones, always interrupting my brother-in-law. Nice hat. Anyways, that's my brother-in-law. He just wants to get on camera so desperately, so I'll let him. Anyways, the purple ones, as you can see, they've died off with the frost. I'm gonna try to dig those up and overwinter them. It might be too late. We had a frost, but it wasn't like, I know the whole ground isn't frozen, so they might be okay. The heuchera, I'm gonna leave alone completely. The astilbe, I might just clean up a little bit, really just leave that alone if you want to, but I'll clean it a little bit. And my hellebore, I'm not gonna touch. So everything else I'm gonna take down. You can see my honocora grass there doesn't look so great there, and at the other end over here, my dog just continually ate it. I talked to a friend of mine who said the 3rd year is key for those. So hopefully that will come back, because I really love that. So let me get to work on this. So guys, while I was cutting back all my herbaceous perennials in the shade garden, I, came across my elephant ear. Do you remember this from my garden? It's so gorgeous. This is a purple one. The large green one I did bring into the house, and it's doing great in the house. We had a few life events that kept us away from our Cape Cod cottage for almost a month, 3.5 weeks or so. So I wasn't here. I really wanted to take these out of the ground and try to overwinter them. I'm still gonna try. So I've never done this before, so I'm gonna first cut off all like the soggy, rotten stems. And then I'm gonna dig it up. And then I'll show you how, there's so much fluid in these. I'll show you how I'm gonna attempt to overwinter them. I mean, I might be too late. Ooh, this is gross. It's all slimy and gross. I might be too late for these, but I'm gonna give it a try. I mean, all you can do is fail and try again next year, right? I'm a big believer in trying. I fail at a lot of things, but I try even more, so sometimes I get a win. So I'm just gonna try to gently dig it up with my pitchfork. Gonna go really far away from it so I don't damage it. Let me go on the other side. Hope you can see what I'm doing. Come on, baby. Go over here. I really wish I did this before. I mean, the ground is still really workable. Okay, let's see what we have. So the purple elephant ear is not nearly as big as the big green one I have. Let's shake off most of the dirt. Let me show you close up. Okay, let's see. It's kind of hard to see, but the corm is here. There's a bunch of tiny little babies growing off of it. These are all the roots. I can get rid of these. Cut some of those off so you can see better. I already shut off all my water, so I can't rinse this off for you. I can see several babies. This corm does seem really small. I don't know if it will come back. I dug up the other one over there, was bigger. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna let this dry out. See how wet it is? It's super wet. I'm gonna put it in a kind of a warmish, dry place, probably somewhere in my house, and let it dry out some more. And then I can shake off some of this dirt. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the stem off even more, and I'll put these in a brown paper bag. Sorry. I'll put these in a brown paper bag and put them in my basement in the unheated part and see how they do. And actually I'll pop them in the ground and see if anything happens. This corm seems seems very small. But you can see right there, there's like a baby one. So I'm just gonna keep it all together. Let me go grab the other one and show you the other one. It was a little bigger. Okay guys, here's the other one. It's a little bigger. The one that you do want to check for is you want to make sure it's not rotted. It would feel soft if it was rotted. Once it dries out, I'll be able to tell more. If there is a rotted portion, you can cut it off and still save it. Let me see. So there's still dirt on this. So it feels pretty firm still. All over the place. They kind of look like coconuts. They got this like fuzzy hair on them. But as you can see, there's like a baby there. There's a baby there. So a baby right there. So I'm going to save this one too. I'm going to let it dry out a little bit because it's still like squishy and wet. And I don't want that because I don't want it to promote rot. So after I dry them out, I'll put them in a paper bag, put them in my basement, and see how they do next spring. So I'm out here at the front of the house, and one of the main things that I do out here is I cut my peonies back almost all the way to the ground. You want to wait until the peony foliage looks like this after a hard frost. You don't want to take them down when they're still green because they're taking in energy from the sun through those green leaves, feeding the root system so they can come back and bloom really nicely next year. So I wait till they're about looking like this, and then I go ahead and cut them right back. So that's the first plant I'm going to do here in my front garden. Okay guys, the second plant I'm going to do here is my, oops. What is the name of this plant? Oh, the phlox, the tall garden phlox. That tends to get like disease and stuff, so I cut it way back in the fall. Cut it right down. Same with the peonies. You don't want it to get all moist and fester diseases. So there's one there and there's one over here. These ones didn't do so great this year, I gotta be honest. I'm hoping it's going to be the third year to shine, right? This is the second year they were in the ground. So maybe the third year, they'll do their things. People love garden phlox. I see people, it's like one of their favorite plants. It's stunning. Mine haven't been great, I got to be honest. They got powdery mildew, even though this variety is supposed to be resistant to powdery mildew. But I just haven't had a great luck with them. As a matter of fact, the ones that I have in my front walkway bed, I think I might move next year. I'm going to give them one more year. I like to give plants 3 years in one spot because that's when they really should be taken off. And if they're not, don't waste your time. Either move them or get rid of them. Another perennial I'll cut back, not all the way to the ground, maybe about down to like half or 2/3, is guara. Guara is not always a perennial here on Cape Cod. I do love it. I did plant 5 or 6 of these in this bed. The year before I did have a gorgeous plant that I loved, and it didn't make it because we had that Arctic blast last winter. So I'm hoping that if we don't have one of these Arctic blasts, then that this will, you know, make it. But for now, I'm just going to cut it back just like that. Not very specific, am I? But just clean it up a little bit. Let it spend its energy preserving those roots for the winter. Go dormant. We'll see what happens in the spring. I'll be happy, very happy if this lives. Because as I said, my last one didn't. And I planted 5 of them this year. So let me just do that last one, and then we'll move on to some other plants. And as I'm going through my garden, if you happen to notice that you see like chicken wire or hardwood cloth laying on the ground, it's because I planted 1,000 bulbs this year, this fall. And while I was away for that 3 weeks or 4 weeks that I told you about, the squirrels came and ate probably a lot of my tulips. I planted grape hyacinths, tulips, and narcissus, daffodils. So I'm hoping that they didn't get all my tulips, but I did try to protect some of them, but I don't have any more of that hardwood cloth. So at this point, it's a crapshoot. Let's move on to the walkway bed. For the front walkway bed, you can see how big my Bobo's got this year. I leave the plants heads, the flower heads on my hydrangeas pretty much for a long time. I usually sometimes I leave them there all winter. I kind of like the way they look. Mr. Hubby thinks they look dead and disgusting, but when there's snow on them, they're really pretty. So these are my amazing Daisy May daisies. I'll take those down. My perfect profusion salvia I'll clean up. All of the tall garden phlox I'll take out. And since the bunny did decimate my white swan echinacea over there, I'm going to take that back because there's really nothing left for the animals to eat. So that's what I'm going to do in this bed. Almost done, guys. So guys, in closing, I just want to mention a few things that I don't touch in the fall. I don't touch my hydrangeas, my roses, any of my grasses I don't touch, my sedum, and all of my shrubs I leave alone until the spring. So I hope you enjoyed this video, teaching you a little bit of which herbaceous perennials to cut back in the fall. And I have a few things coming up on my channel. We did get the go-ahead to do the remodel on the inside, so I am going to be sharing some of that over the winter. It probably won't start probably till the end of January, but there's not a lot going on at that time with gardening, so I thought it might be fun to add that little and home part of my gardening channel. That I did mention this back in the summer, but haven't done much with it yet. I did film some videos that I'm going to put out soon about choosing products for my kitchen. I did some marble samples with some staining and what I thought about that project. But aside from that, I did buy a whole bunch of seeds, so I'll be doing a seed haul. And also, we're only like 1 month away from starting our onions, so it's gonna start all over again. I'm super excited. But until then, I may post something else. I'm not sure yet. Certainly a seed haul. But until then, you have a wonderful holiday, and thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Have a lovely day. Bye, guys. Hi guys, it's Carol from Cape Cod Cottage Garden. Welcome back to my channel. If you're So guys, while I was cleaning out my hosta bed, blooper, start over.